The call came at 2:17 a.m. The sound of my phone on the cold, marble nightstand was a violation, a sharp, digital tear in the fabric of my ordered, silent life. I am a person of rules, of logic, of consequences. I am a person who goes to bed at 10 p.m. and rises at 5 a.m. 2:17 a.m. is the hour of death, disaster, and desperation. I answered. This is Hayes. Mom? The voice was a strangled sob, a sound so broken I almost didn't recognize it. It was my daughter, Naomi. Naomi? What's wrong? Where are you? Mom, I'm at the police station. Before we begin, this story deals with domestic violence. If you or someone you know is in danger, please know that there is help, and you are not alone. And if you are here because you believe in the strength it takes to fight back, please subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's get into the story. My blood, which had been warm from sleep, turned to ice. What police station? Naomi, talk to me. The 12th precinct. Mom. Michael hit me. I sat up, the world tilting. Michael. Her husband. The charismatic, handsome, successful architect she had married over my quiet, unspoken objections. He hit me, she wept, her voice cracking with a hysteria that was not her. But he called them first. He told them I attacked him. He tore his shirt, he scratched his own face. Mom, they're laughing at me. They believe him. They believe him, not me. I was already out of bed. My hands were not shaking. My voice was dangerously calm. I'm on my way. Do not say another word. Do not sign anything. Do not speak to anyone until I get there. I hung up. I did not throw on a coat. I got dressed. I put on my navy blue suit, the one I wore for sentencings. I put on my low-heeled, sensible shoes. I am Judge Serafina Hayes. For 20 years, I have been a federal judge for the U.S. District Court. My life is the law. It is order. It is truth. And my daughter was just fed to the wolves. The 12th precinct was a place I knew of, but had never entered. It was loud, it smelled of stale coffee and desperation, and the officer at the front desk was a man named Riley, who was chewing gum like it was his job. Help you, ma'am? He asked, not looking up from his magazine. I am here to see my daughter, Naomi. Last name? King, she had taken his name. The thought was a new, fresh wound. Ah, King. The domestic, he said, finally looking at me with bored, dismissive eyes. Yeah, she's in the back. You can't see her. She's the primary aggressor. We're processing her. The primary aggressor? I repeated, my voice flat. Yeah, lady, he sighed, annoyed. She went at her husband. Tore him up pretty good. He's over there. Nice guy. Don't know what he did to set her off, but... He gestured with his chin. I looked. There he was. Michael. My son-in-law. Sitting on a bench, looking the picture of the terrified, aggrieved husband. He had a dramatic, carefully placed scratch on his cheek. He was pressing an ice pack to his knuckles, as if he had hurt his hand punching a wall, or my daughter. He was performing. And then I saw her. My daughter. My brilliant, kind Naomi, who had been a gifted painter, who had put her life on hold to support Michael's career. She was not on a bench. She was handcuffed to a steel bar on the wall, her face swollen, a deep, ugly purple blooming on her jaw, her lip split. She was staring at the floor, her shoulders shaking. They believed him. The hook was not just the call. It was this moment. The moment I saw the system I had dedicated my life to, the system I represented, being so grotesquely, casually perverted. Officer Riley, I said. My voice was not loud. But it was the voice I used from the bench. The one that carries, the one that silences. He looked up, startled. You will uncuff my daughter. You will bring her to a private room. You will get her medical attention. And you will give me the name of your precinct captain. Now. He actually scoffed. And who the hell are you, lady? Her lawyer? I am her mother. I walked directly to the desk, my presence, my suit, my unshakable, cold fury finally piercing his bubble of indifference. I placed my federal identification on his desk. When I walked in, the officer looked at me, turned pale, and said, "Ma'am." He didn't just turn pale. He blanched. His eyes went from my face to the ID, and back to my face. The gum stopped moving. He swallowed a loud, audible gulp. "Ma'am," he stammered, scrambling to his feet, his entire demeanor changing. "Ma'am, we didn't know. We didn't know who you were." "That is precisely the problem, officer," I said, my voice like ice. "You saw a black woman with a busted lip, and you saw a charismatic man with a scratch, and you made a choice. You didn't investigate. You assumed. Now, you will fix it." Yes, Judge. I mean, ma'am. Judge Hayes? Oh, God. Right away, Judge. Right away. He fumbled for his keys, his hands shaking. Michael, hearing the panic, looked up. He saw me. His charming, victim facade didn't just slip. It shattered. He saw me, and his eyes went wide, not with fear of his mother-in-law, but with the cold, hard terror of a con man whose mark has just been revealed. He knew exactly who I was. And in that instant, I knew. This was not a domestic dispute. This was not a loss of temper. This was about me. I took Naomi to the hospital. Not the local one. The university hospital, where Dr. Reed, my own doctor, was waiting. Dr. Reed, who knew my face, my power, and who would document everything. While Naomi was being examined, I sat in the sterile, quiet waiting room. The counterattack was in full swing, but it was not a plan of emotion. It was an investigation. Michael was an architect. He was, I thought, a good one. He was building a new, massive wing for the federal courthouse. My courthouse. He had been helping me. He'd been coming to my home, organizing my study, my files, my life. "You're so busy, Serafina," he'd say. "Let me just digitize these old case files for you. Let me streamline your life. I am a federal judge. I am currently presiding over the largest, most complex white-collar crime case in the state's history, United States v. the Mercer Syndicate. A case built on a mountain of digital evidence, a case that had, for months, been plagued by leaks. My chief marshal had warned me. Judge, they're getting information from somewhere. They're one step ahead of the prosecution. It's like they're in our heads. I had been blind. I looked at my phone. I pulled up my personal bank accounts. My retirement portfolio. My secure trusts. Empty. Drained. Liquidated. Over the last 6 months, small, then large, transfers. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Gone. The hidden secret wasn't that my son-in-law was an abuser. It was that he was a thief. He hadn't just married my daughter. He had infiltrated my life. He was using my money, for what? To pay someone off? To flee? The pieces began to fit. The fight wasn't a fight. He had beaten her, knowing she would call me. He had framed her, knowing she would be arrested. He was trying to drag me, the presiding judge, into a messy, public, domestic scandal. He was trying to force a mistrial. He wasn't just an abuser. He was a tool. He was a soldier for the Mercer Syndicate. They had found my one weakness, my daughter, and they had inserted their operative right into my home. And the beating was his desperate, final move. Dr. Reed came out. She's stable. A broken rib, severe concussion, fractured cheekbone. This was not a push, Serafina. I know, I said, my voice hollow. She's asking for you. She's terrified. She keeps saying, he said I had to sign it. I wouldn't sign it. My blood ran cold. Sign what? I don't know. But she's clutching this. Dr. Reed handed me a piece of paper, crumpled and stained with Naomi's blood. It wasn't a check. It wasn't a letter. It was a forged affidavit. A sworn statement. It was a confession. My confession. It stated that I, Judge Serafina Hayes, had been secretly meeting with the prosecution, accepting bribes, and conspiring to rig the Mercer trial. It was a complete, detailed, and utterly plausible fabrication. And at the bottom, a blank line, waiting for one signature, Naomi King, as the sole, corroborating witness. He hadn't been trying to get me to sign it. He had been trying to get my daughter to sign it. He had beaten her, perhaps to the point of death, to force her to perjure herself and destroy my entire life. I clutched the paper. I was wrong. This wasn't a mistrial he was after. This was my impeachment. This was my disbarment. This was my ruin. Agent Harris, Agent Chen, and Dr. Reed worked with a cold, terrifying efficiency. Within 10 minutes, I was not Amina Hayes, patient. I was witness prime, a federal asset. They moved me from the ER, through a secure sub-level garage, and into a black SUV. I was gone before Malik's high-priced lawyer, a shark named Harrison, had even finished signing the bail paperwork. Malik walked out of the 12th precinct a free man. He was enraged, his victim act having been shredded by a real doctor. But he was also arrogant. He thought he had, at worst, a domestic assault charge to beat. He thought his only problem was a hysterical wife. He had no idea that I, the silent stenographer, had just become the government's entire case. I was taken to a federal safe house, a nondescript apartment in a high-rise, with reinforced walls and a U.S. Marshal posted outside the door. Agent Harris and Agent Chen sat across from me. Mrs. Hayes, Agent Harris began, what you have given us is the key to a case we've been failing to build for 2 years. This goes so far beyond assault. This goes to the top. I know, I said. My voice was stronger. The fear was still there, a cold stone in my stomach, but it was being eclipsed by a lifetime of suppressed rage. The Russo Syndicate. The Red Ledger. He's working for them. We believe he is them, Agent Chen interjected. Or at least, a major part. We think Malik used his courthouse renovation contract to get to that ledger. He wasn't just a random thief, he was a surgical operative. And he used his marriage to you as his cover. This was the hidden secret suspense, the part one had never let myself see. My entire marriage. My entire life. He needed that ledger, I reasoned, my stenographer's mind beginning to collate the data. He stole it to protect Russo. And he beat me to silence me. That's one theory, Harris said, leaning forward. But we have another. Your husband, Mrs. Hayes, he's not just a contractor. He's a gambler. A very, very bad one. He owes millions to a private bookie in Macau. We think he stole the ledger not to protect Russo, but to sell it, either back to Russo, or to his rivals. He's a desperate man, playing all sides. The pieces clicked. The new cars. The lavish charity donations. The way he always needed my paycheck. He wasn't successful. He was a fraud, drowning in debt, and he had just stolen the single most valuable piece of evidence in the city to save his own skin. And now, I said, he's lost his witness. Me. And he's lost his hostage. The ledger. Exactly, Harris said. He will come for you. He has to. You're the only person alive who can tie him to the theft. But first, he has to find the ledger. He must have hidden it. The construction site, I whispered. The new Southside Community Center. The one he's building pro bono. He was there. Between the house and the hospital. We're already pulling the warrants, Chen said. We'll have a team on that site by sunrise. We'll tear the new concrete apart if we have to. While they scrambled their teams, I sat on the sterile sofa, my mind working. The ledger was the crime. But what was the proof? He'll deny it, I said. He'll say I'm a vengeful, crazy wife. The clumsy wife who fell. He will paint himself as the victim. His word against mine. His lawyer certainly will, Harris agreed. But he made a mistake, I said. He made two. The agents looked at me. First, he thinks I'm stupid. He thinks I'm a mouse. He's a contractor, and he's been running his side business, the bribes, the payoffs, the gambling debts, for years. He's arrogant. He keeps records. Where? The one place he knew I would never, ever go, I said. My father's old study. In our house. After my father died, I couldn't bear to go in there. It was his sanctuary. Malik knew that. He respected that. Or so I thought. He used it. He used my grief as a lockbox. We can get a warrant for the house, Chen said. You won't need one, I said. I'm still his wife. And I'm giving you permission to enter my home. Go to the study. Behind the false back of the 1890s roll-top desk. There's a safe. The combination is his birthday. 0-8-1-6, he's arrogant, but he's not creative. Harris was on the phone in an instant, dispatching a second team. And the second mistake, he asked, turning back to me. He's getting an award, I said. In 2 days. The mayor's gala. Citizen of the Year. He's giving a speech. About his service to the community. About the new Southside Center. We'll arrest him before that, Chen said. Once we have the ledgers, both Russo's and his, it's over. No, I said, a new, cold power rising in me. I stood up, my broken rib screaming, but I ignored it. You can't. Mrs. Hayes, we can't let him, you can't, I interrupted, my voice taking on the sharp, clear finality of the courtroom. You will arrest him. But you will do it my way. He has spent 20 years building a public mask of generosity and charm. He has spent 20 years using my silence as his shield. He has humiliated me, he has beaten me, and he has tried to murder me. He does not get to be arrested quietly in his house. He does not get to disappear. He has to be seen. Harris and Chen were silent. They understood. The gala, I said. He will be on that stage, in his tuxedo, in front of the mayor, the city council, the press, everyone who thinks he is a saint. He will be there, and I will be there. Amina, that is out of the question, Harris said. It's a security nightmare. He sees you, he won't see me, I said, a thin, grim smile spreading across my bruised face. He never has. I'm invisible, remember? But he will hear me. I have an idea. I am a stenographer. My job is to provide the official record. And at that gala, I am going to provide the final record. The next 48 hours were a blur. The federal teams moved with terrifying speed. At 4 a.m., Agent Chen's team breached the construction site. They didn't have to tear the new concrete apart. They found the red ledger, wrapped in plastic, stuffed inside a hollow support beam in the lobby, waiting to be permanently sealed in. It was sloppy. It was desperate. They had it. At 5 a.m., Agent Harris's team entered my house. They went to my father's study. Behind the false-backed desk, they found the safe. The combination was, indeed, 0-8-1-6. Inside was Malik's real life, stacks of cash, fake passports, and his own ledger, meticulously detailing the bribes to city inspectors and the millions in kickbacks from the substandard materials he was using on every project, including the pro bono community center. He wasn't just stealing from Russo. He was stealing from the city. He was stealing from the poor. The citizen of the year was a predator, poisoning his own community for profit. I now had both ledgers. The Russo ledger, which proved his theft and tied him to the cartel, and the Malik ledger, which proved he was a racketeer. The trap was set. Malik, meanwhile, was in a panic. He had been released on bail. He had gone to the construction site, only to find it crawling with city inspectors, FBI agents in disguise. He couldn't get to his ledger. He had gone home, only to find his own front door sealed by a federal warrant. He couldn't get to his other ledger. He had no money. He had no escape plan. And he had no idea where I was. He was a cornered, rabid animal. The night of the gala arrived. The ballroom was glittering. The mayor was at the podium, smiling. "It is my great honor," the mayor said, "to present the Citizen of the Year award to a man who has given so much, a man who has rebuilt our city with his bare hands. Mr. Malik Hayes." The room erupted in applause. Malik walked onto the stage, his tuxedo perfect, his smile humble. He looked like a king. He scanned the crowd, a flicker of nervousness in his eyes. He was looking for me. He didn't see me. I was not in the crowd. I was where I had always been. Invisible. I was in the sound booth at the back of the ballroom, sitting next to the audiovisual technician. Agent Harris was at the door. Malik tapped the microphone. "Thank you, Mayor," he began, his voice smooth as silk. I am truly humbled. I don't do this for awards. I do it for my city. I do it for my family. My beautiful wife, Amina, she couldn't be here tonight. She had a terrible accident. She is not the only one, Mr. Hayes." My voice. Not my whisper. My voice. My clear, strong, courtroom voice, amplified by every speaker in the ballroom. Malik froze. His smile twitched. He looked around, his eyes wide, searching. Who said that?" "I did," I said. On the two massive screens flanking the stage, where a smiling picture of Malik was supposed to be, my face appeared. Not my current face, bruised and broken. But a photo taken a week ago, my eyes dead, a handprint-shaped bruise on my arm. Then another. A split lip from the month before. Then another. An X-ray of a badly set finger he had corrected himself. And then, the photos from Dr. Reed's ER. The fractured ulna. The strangulation marks. The split lip. A wave of gasps and screams rippled through the ballroom. The mayor looked horrified. What is this?" Malik stammered, backing away from the microphone. This is slander. This is fake. My injuries are not fake, Malik," my voice boomed. "And neither is this." The images on the screen changed. It was now a high-resolution scan of the red ledger. "This," my voice narrated, "is the missing evidence from the Russo trial. Stolen by Mr. Hayes from the courthouse vault." The crowd was in a full-blown panic. People were standing up, shouting. "And this," the screen changed again, "is his ledger. Detailing the kickbacks. The bribes. The substandard, dangerous materials he has been using to build his pro bono community center." The final image appeared. It was the evidence bag I had seen in his truck. "He did not beat me because I set him off," I said, my voice resonating with the cold, hard finality of a judge's gavel. "He beat me to silence me. He beat me because I found this." Malik turned. He ran. He ran right off the stage, and into the arms of Agent Harris and Agent Chin. "Malik Hayes," Harris said, his voice quiet but carrying over the sudden, stunned silence. "You are under arrest. For attempted murder, racketeering, and conspiracy." I had not set foot in the room. But my record, my testimony, had been delivered. My legacy. The silence in the grand ballroom was heavier than any I had ever recorded in a courtroom. It was a dense, suffocating blanket of pure shock. The city's elite, mayors, council members, philanthropists, and press, were frozen, their faces a grotesque tableau of horror. Then, chaos. Cameras flashed like strobe lights. People were shouting, scrambling away from the stage as if it were contaminated. The mayor was pale, already being hustled out a side door by his security, his Citizen of the Year award now a symbol of his own catastrophic misjudgment. Malik did not go quietly. The pillar of the community vanished, and the monster I knew was unleashed. He roared, a sound of pure, cornered animal rage, trying to fight the agents. "She's lying. That crazy bitch is lying. You can't prove anything." "We can, Mr. Hayes," Agent Harris said, his voice bored, as he and Chin expertly subdued him. "We have the Russo ledger, recovered from your construction site. We have your ledger, recovered from your safe. And we have your wife, who has just provided the most compelling testimony of my career." They dragged him out, still screaming, his $5,000 tuxedo ripped, his mask of civility gone forever, exposing the pathetic, violent fraud beneath. I stood in the sound booth for a long time, watching the room clear. I watched the press swarm the stage, taking pictures of the screen, which still showed Malik's ledger. I had done it. I had used my voice, my record, to end him. The trial was a formality. It was two trials, really. The first was for Malik. Facing his own meticulous, handwritten ledger of bribes, the irrefutable evidence from the Russo ledger, and my testimony, delivered not from a stenographer's chair, but from the witness box, he had no defense. He was found guilty of attempted murder, racketeering, and conspiracy to obstruct justice. He was sentenced to 35 years in federal prison. He will be an old, broken man before he ever sees the light of day. The second trial was for Senator Russo. With his lost ledger now in evidence, the case was airtight. The entire corrupt syndicate, which had poisoned the city for a decade, was dismantled. The resolution was complete. The antagonists were brought to justice. But what about me? I went back to the courthouse, but something had changed. I could no longer sit in the corner, silent, just recording the words of others. My silence had almost cost me my life. My silence had enabled a monster. I looked at my little black book, the one where I had meticulously recorded Malik's crimes. I had built a case for 10 years, all while never speaking a word. And I realized, this was the hidden secret. Not just the ledger, but the method. My legacy was not to be a silent witness anymore. My legacy was to teach others how to be heard. I resigned from my position as a court stenographer. I took the substantial assets from my divorce settlement, the house, the accounts, everything he had ever earned through his crimes, and I founded the Hayes Witness Project. My transformation was absolute. I was no longer a mousy, invisible woman. I was a consultant. I am now the most sought-after expert in the country for coercive control cases. I work with prosecutors, with police departments, and with victims of domestic abuse. I teach them what I learned, how to build an infallible, data-driven, unignorable case. I teach them to become their own stenographers. To record everything. Not just the violence, but the crimes. The casual financial fraud. The hidden accounts. The tax evasion. The small lies that build a foundation for the big ones. I teach them how to find the red ledger in their own lives. My foundation provides legal aid, but more importantly, it provides forensic accountants and private investigators to victims. We build the case so that when a woman, beaten and bruised, walks into a precinct like the 12th, she doesn't just have her story. She has a record. She has receipts. She is evidence that men like Officer Riley cannot, and will not, ignore. I found my new purpose. I stood at a podium last week, not in a sound booth, but on the main stage, addressing the new class of police cadets. You will see them, I said, my voice clear and strong, echoing through the auditorium. They will come to you, like I did, broken and bruised. Do not see a domestic dispute. See a witness. Do not see a hysterical woman. See a survivor who is holding the key to a much larger crime. Do not ever ask, what did you do to set him off? Ask, what evidence can we gather? Because I promise you, the pillar of the community is often the most rotten of all. I found my peace. Not in silence, but in my voice. Malik tried to erase me, to make me a silent footnote in his violent life. Instead, he made me the author of his downfall, and the voice for thousands who had none. What this story teaches us is that the most dangerous person in the world is the one who has been silent for too long. The one who watches, who listens, and who records. They are not invisible. They are just biding their time. If you believe in the power of a single voice to change the world, hit that like button. And subscribe to this channel. Because we all deserve to have our truth heard, and to have the final, victorious word. We'll see you in the next one.